Hello, thank you for joining me today. I am just going to be giving you a tour of my garden. We've been having rain for the past 3 days, and the garden is looking quite luscious. So these are my mixed lettuce and garlics on the ends. This is my potato bed. It has a few beans coming up in it, like there, green peas. So I have quite a few throughout it. And then over here is my escallion. And these are some tomatoes that I transplanted out of my raised bed that was by the shed, because for whatever reason they weren't doing well over there. And then this is the kids' garden. I think cutworm got in there because all their lettuces have been destroyed except for these few damaged pieces. And my strawberries over here are my beetroots. I've got 2 melons growing in that container there. They finally start to look healthy. Just finally start growing. I have a few carrots and some squash that I didn't plant. I planted the carrots but not the squash. I am not seeing a lot of those carrots coming up in here, but they're still there. And then beside it, looking like grass, are my garlics. And then I have some really small tomatoes and larger ones down here. And then those 3 block containers are, this one is 2 sweet peppers in there, well 3, a tiny one that's not doing too well, and the other 2 are flowers to invite the bees in the garden. I have some more small tomatoes, and those are my carrots that were there from last year. Then those cabbage looking plants are some broccolis, and my tomato plants, they're very tiny, but I find that they are starting to blossom because these were planted indoors, but because the time was so cold, they just weren't growing as fast as they should. So although they are small, the plants are actually old. And then I have some more garlic there. My beans, or my green peas, got affected by cutworm and they're trying to grow still. I've got a little melon trying to grow there. The wind is not doing the plants any favor this year. They're suffering under the wind. And these are my courgette, as they're called in London. I just learned recently that they're the same thing as zucchini. So all this time I thought I didn't know what courgette are. It's just that it was a different name from what I'm used to. And then these are my broad beans. They also are suffering under the hands of the cutworms. And then I have my corns, and they have been looking so much different, healthier since the rain started. It's amazing how you water your plants and your plants look good, yes, but as soon as it gets rain, they look so much different. from when you water them with whether, I don't know if it has something to do with the chemicals in the water or if it is just something about both the rainwater and the temperature. So here I've got more tomatoes and they are starting to blossom as well. Here I have my turmeric that I planted. It hasn't started growing yet. And in here I have my ginger, and they have started growing. And the funny thing about this is that right here used to be a ginger, and every time that I come out in the morning, that ginger would be lifted up out of the soil. I put it back, it is up out of the soil again. Finally that piece of ginger disappeared, so I don't know what's going on with that. Could it be birds or road or some insect or rats or whatever, I don't know. And then here I need to harvest these because they have bolted. I'm going to be harvesting what I can, freezing them, but for some reason I like these. I just like to look at the bloom, so I just have them there. And these are my kales. That's the first time I'm planting kale. And then over here I have broccoli that is being overrun by pak choy that I did not plant. So this is a pak choy I'm moving. Anything that's blossoming here is a pak choy. I did not plant those, but I had pak choy in this bed last year. So this is my broccoli. I've got a few of them in there. And then these are my Chinese cabbage, and the cutworms got to it. Oh my goodness, I see the cutworm strikes again. Alright, so the cutworm got to this one 2 weeks ago, and I dig around the root, I found it and I squashed it, and it got to this one as well. It got to this one as well, but I was able to, I dug up the plant, dig around the root, I found the cutworm and I killed it. This one is struggling because the cutworm got to it as well. So did this one. I thought it would die, but it is still trying to grow. Here is one that the cutworms got to and destroyed. I'm just checking in the middle, because if the middle looks healthy, so I think I'm going to plant it. This one also got affected by the cutworm because this was a very big one, and that is what is left of it. So I have been putting crushed eggshells around them since I found that the cutworms are eating them, and that is the only reason why these ones are able to thrive. And in this bed here, my carrots are finally starting to grow. And these are my callaloo or amaranth, the cow tongue variety. And so I am waiting for them to get big enough so that I can transplant them, separate them. So I'm going to be putting some in this raised bed, and the others are going to be going in the main garden. And that is another pak choy that I didn't plant. So I've got quite a few suckers of the callaloo. And I see these things. I don't know what they are. I know they are some form of weed that looks like carrot that keeps growing in here. And I was able to take out about 8 tomato plants from here, and I did not plant them There is another one there. They just started growing in there on their own. There's another one that grew in there on its own. And here I have more cabbage, and this one was affected by the cutworm as well. I managed to save it. And this plant, the seeds came in the package with the Chinese cabbage, even though Chinese cabbage was all I ordered. But then I was told that it is another type of kale, so I'm just gonna let it stay there. I'm gonna be feasting on it and see if I like it. If I do, then I will allow it to seed so I can get some seeds and plant some next year. And in that corner there I have some mint that is growing pretty well. This bed, finally my cucumbers look as if they might do something. Now that Chinese cabbage is suffering. I've got some tiny, very tiny cucumbers coming up in here. I'm hoping to be able to transplant some out. This bed has mostly carrots. I had tomato in here and I transplanted it out because it wasn't doing well. And then I have some more kale in here and some Chinese cabbage. And I transplanted these kale and Chinese cabbage from the main garden because I find that for this year the things that I have in the ground are not doing so well. The things that are in raised beds are doing better. And here is a moth. I'm just gonna get him off there because these things are attacking, at least their larvae, their caterpillars are attacking my cabbage. Because this one, I managed to rescue it yesterday from the cutworm, and that one practically got destroyed. And now we're going to go over to my pak choy that I really need to harvest and store. I've harvested most of them, and I dropped a lot of pak choy seeds in here because I know I was going to be harvesting the pak choy, so I threw some seeds in here, and within a day or two they started germinating. I see a lot of the Dutch elm seedlings in here as well, so I need to go through and do some weeding. So my pak choy has gone into seeding. And then over here I have the tomatoes that I planted in the self-watering system, and of all my tomatoes, these are the ones that are doing the best because they've been in here less than 2 weeks and they were half this size, and they're doing pretty well. And there is another melon in there, so the tomatoes are doing pretty well. They are blossoming as well, which is good. And on the outside of the property I planted some tomatoes because for the last 2 years I have been putting plants out here so that persons passing by who do not have a garden of their own can have something to harvest. So okay, I see that one died. This one is still looking good, so that's one died. 2 that is doing well. 3 that is doing well. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's it. So 9 tomatoes, and I am hoping that when the cucumbers reach the size where I can transplant it, I want to put at least 3 of the plants out here as well. Okay guys, so that's it for now. I thank you for watching, and if you like my video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notification. And I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.